Today, we are going to begin the important aspect of microeconomics in our ISI crash course. Okay, and today we are going to start with absolutely the basics. ठीक है. सबसे पहले हम लोग कोई भी कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर को समझने के लिए देयर आर टू एस्पेक्ट्स. फर्स्ट एस्पेक्ट is to talk about the affordability of the consumer. Okay, and the other aspect is to talk about the preference of the consumer. The affordability of the consumer is measured by a concept called budget set or budget line. Okay, what we are given in our simple consumer behavior model is a model where there is some income with the consumer. Okay, the income is denoted by capital letter M, and this income is greater than equal to how much the consumer is being able to spend on the two goods X and Y. So we take a very simple two case model, two good model, where the two goods are X and Y, and there is a price of X and there is a price of Y. So this is the entire expenditure that the consumer has to make in this simple model. Okay. Now, how much does the consumer actually spend depends on affordability coupled with the preference. Okay. So this basically represents the budget set of the consumer. In the XY space, this is good X, this is good Y. We are able to draw the affordability space of the consumer. So this circled inequality is drawn and it looks like this. The x-intercept is m by px, wherein I spend everything on x and y is equal to 0. And this point is where I spend everything on y and my x quantity is equal to 0. And everywhere below this line is where m is strictly greater than x px plus y py. And on this line, we have equality. That is, m is equal to x px plus y py. And it's called the budget line. The slope of the budget line is minus px by py, absolute value px by py. Okay, that is the affordability, or that is one part of the story. The other part of the story in consumer behavior is the preference. Okay, the preference of the consumer denoted by a utility function, because in order to talk or to build any sort of a model, we will have to take the help of mathematics. And hence, in order to understand or to put the preference of the consumer on the graph, in order to put the preference of the consumer, in order to see how the preference with affordability gives us the demand for X and Y, we will have to take the help of a utility function. Okay, hold on. So this utility function, in order to be graphed, had to be graphed in the 3D space. So the economists decided, take utility as constant, and then in the XY space, draw a curve such that the utility is constant for all values of X and Y on this curve. And that gave rise to the concept of indifference curves. Okay. The higher the indifference curve, the more is the utility that the consumer is being able to enjoy. Now, the indifference curves and the budget line together coordinate with each other, and we are able to find out the ultimate X and Y that the consumer will demand. Okay. I'm doing everything in a very short manner, right? Obviously, it's the crash course. So, this area, I just want to share a little bit of the theory, and maximum we learn while doing problems. Today is my aim to do an ISI 2024 problem as well. So it'll be interesting to take a look at all of that. Yeah. So how does an indifference curve along with the budget line interact with each other. The indifference curve along with the budget line interact with each other in this particular fashion. Like this is the budget line. Let's have indifference curves. Sorry. Okay. Now, remember, the higher the indifference curve, the better it is. So, given the indifference curves, the highest indifference curve achievable in this kind of a scenario is at point A, because obviously the aim of the consumer is to be able to reach a utility level that is maximum given the money that he has in his pocket. Okay, so given that he has, say, 100 rupees in his pocket, he draws a budget line depending on the prevailing prices in the market. And given the budget line, the highest utility that the consumer can derive is at a point A. Okay. This point A gives us the X and Y demand that the consumer should make in order to maximize his own utility. So this is ultimately transformed into a constraint optimization problem, wherein I have a utility function, I have a budget line which acts as a constraint, and I'm able to find out where I am able to maximize my utility. It is extremely logical to say that every individual or every consumer is a logical consumer, has common sense, and their main aim is to maximize their own utility. कितना कितना happiness मुझे मिल रहा है. Obviously I will try to maximize my happiness. So if any of you are having a question कि सर maximize क्यों करना है utility, भाई आपका main aim in life, I will assume, if I don't know anything, will be to maximize your happiness, is to maximize your utility, right? So वही यहाँ पर हम लोग mathematically कर रहे हैं. We are trying to maximize the preference of the consumer given the affordability of the consumer. ठीक है. So this in short is what we are going to do in today's class. कल के क्लास में हम लोग डिमांड में जाएंगे. फेयर. सो प्रेफरेंसेस ऑफ द कंज्यूमर हमने देखा है. प्रेफरेंसेस ऑफ द कंज्यूमर के कुछ प्रॉपर्टीज होते हैं. द 5 गुड प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ द प्रेफरेंसेस ऑफ द कंज्यूमर आर: नंबर 1, कंप्लीटनेस. कंप्लीटनेस का मतलब कि ऐसा कोई भी दो बंडल नहीं है जो द कंज्यूमर कैन नॉट कंपेयर. सो अगर बंडल ए है एंड बी है, द कंज्यूमर विल आइदर प्रेफर ए टू बी, या तो दोनों इंडिफरेंट होंगे, या तो बी विल बी प्रेफर्ड टू ए. सो कंप्लीट इंफॉर्मेशन इज देयर. नंबर 2, रिफ्लेक्सिविटी. बंडल ए इज एज गुड एज इट सेल्फ. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है कि बंडल ए इज इंफीरियर टू इट सेल्फ, ये नहीं हो सकता. थर्ड प्रॉपर्टी इज ट्रांजिटिविटी. ट्रांजिटिविटी का मतलब है कि अगर ए इज प्रेफर्ड ओवर बी एंड बी इज प्रेफर्ड ओवर सी, देन ए इज प्रेफर्ड ओवर सी. नंबर 4 इज मोनोटोनिसिटी. मोनोटोनिसिटी बेसिकली बोलता है कि इफ आई इंक्रीज एक्स और आई इंक्रीज वाई, माई यूटिलिटी शुड इंक्रीज. इसका मतलब है दैट इंक्रीजिंग एक्स और इंक्रीजिंग वाई विल इंक्रीज माई यूटिलिटी. ओके. नंबर 5 इज कॉन्वेक्सिटी. कॉन्वेक्सिटी बेसिकली बोलता है कि एवरेजेस आर प्रेफर्ड ओवर एक्सट्रीम्स. मतलब कि इफ आई हैव एक्स जीरो indifferent to 0 y, then basically x by 2 comma y by 2 will be preferred over x0 and 0y. ठीक है. तो ये 5 प्रेफरेंस के प्रॉपर्टीज हैं जो सेटिस्फाई करते हैं. तो हम लोग बोलते हैं दैट द प्रेफरेंस ऑफ द कंज्यूमर इज वेल बिहेव्ड. सो वेल बिहेव्ड प्रेफरेंसेस के लिए ये 5 एक्सियोम्स है, 5 ये प्रॉपर्टीज है. ये सब कुछ आपको डिटेल में नोट में मिल रहा है. इट्स ऑल देयर इन डिटेल ऑन द स्टूडेंट पोर्टल in terms of notes. Okay. Thank you for your responses. Let's look at question number 3, ISI 2016 PB. A consumer consumes electricity denoted by E and butter denoted by B. The per unit price of butter is 1. To consume electricity, the consumer has to pay a fixed charge R and a per unit price of P. Okay. If consumption of electricity is below half, then P is equal to 1. Otherwise, P is equal to 2. Okay. So P is equal to 1 when electricity is less than equal to half and P is equal to 2 otherwise. Okay. The utility function of the consumer is 3 plus B and her income is greater than the fixed charge. तो utility तो आएगा ही नहीं. I am only going to talk about the budget line. ओके ये वाले क्वेश्चन में खाली बजट लाइन के बारे में अभी बात करने वाले हैं. इसके बाद में नेक्स्ट एरियाज में जाएंगे. सबसे पहले P इज इक्वल टू 1. तो if I don't consume any electricity, then I is equal to B. That's one point. If I start consuming electricity, I have to pay the rental charge R. And ये है E plus B. This will happen when E is less than equal to half. And it will be I minus R is equal to 2E plus B when E is greater than half. ठीक है. तो ये 3 पॉइंट्स है ऑफ द बजट लाइन. डू ऑल ऑफ यू अग्री? इफ यू अग्री देन टाइप ए इन द चैट बॉक्स. ये 3 पॉइंट्स ही हो सकते हैं. नहीं, स्क्रीन इज नॉट विजिबल. होल्ड ऑन. तो ये 3 इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स हैं. अब इसको अगर मैं ग्राफ में लगाने का कोशिश करूं, होल्ड ऑन, थोड़ा नीचे चलते हैं. नीचे में थोड़ा जगह होगा. तो ये 3 पॉइंट्स को इफ आई ट्राई टू ग्राफ इट, ये वर्टिकल एक्सिस में इफ आई टेक बी, हॉरिजॉन्टल एक्सिस में इफ आई टेक ई, आई इज इक्वल टू बी. तो एक पॉइंट ऑन द बजट लाइन हो गया ये. दूसरा पॉइंट हो गया ये सपोजिंग आई माइनस आर. तो आई माइनस आर इज इक्वल टू ई प्लस बी. ये एक ड्रॉ कर लेते हैं. सपोजिंग कुछ ऐसा बनता है. ओके, समवेयर हियर अलोंग द लाइन आई हैव ई इज इक्वल टू हाफ. ठीक है. आई माइनस आर इज इक्वल टू ई प्लस बी है ये वाला ग्रीन लाइन. आई माइनस आर इज इक्वल टू 2 ई प्लस बी इज दिस सपोजिंग ब्लू लाइन. ठीक है. तो ये ब्लू लाइन इज ओनली एप्लीकेबल आफ्टर E is greater than half, and ये green line is only applicable when E is less than equal to half. ये समझ में आ रहा है? Not visible again. ये कैसे हो रहा है? हाँ. ये अगर आपको समझ में आया तो E लेस देन हाफ में ये हो जाएगा बजट लाइन. E ग्रेटर देन हाफ में ये हो जाएगा बजट लाइन. ओके, बेसिकली दिस इज व्हाट द बजट लाइन इज. डोंट बी शॉक्ड. ये ऊपर वाला पार्ट है ऐसे और ये नीचे वाला पार्ट है. इट्स अ डिसकंटिन्यूअस बजट लाइन. इट्स अ डिसकंटिन्यूअस बजट लाइन. एक पॉइंट हो गया ये, फिर ये डिसकंटिन्यूटी है, फिर ये आ गया, फिर यहां से ई इज इक्वल टू हाफ तक हो गया, फिर डिसकंटिन्यूटी हो गया, फिर उसके बाद में ये हो गया. ये पॉइंट क्या है? ये पॉइंट है व्हेन आई ओनली बाय इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. तो ये हो गया आई माइनस आर डिवाइडेड बाई 2. ओके, तो ये हो गया आई. ISI 2018 PEB question number 3. Okay. So let the utility function be u is equal to min of y plus 2x comma x plus 2y. So when will I consider y plus 2x? When y plus 2x is less than x plus 2y. Can all of you see the screen now? Now it's good. Type S in the chat box. So this will basically mean that x less than y. Okay. When x is less than y, then y plus 2x I will consider. So utility is equal to y plus 2x when x is less than y, and it will be 2x plus y when x is greater than y. So what I'll do is I'll basically draw the indifference curve. This is my x, this is my y, this is my, I'm drawing it freehand. This is my x is equal to y, this is my x is greater than y. So x is greater than y, it's this. When x is less than y, it's y plus 2x. So basically, oh sorry, y plus 2x and x plus 2y. Y plus 2x, x plus 2y, y plus 2x, x plus 2y. See, the slope here is equal to 2. I'm talking about absolute slope, and here it's half. Here it's 2, here it's half. So it's basically slope is 2, slope is 2. Then after we cross the x is equal to y line and go into x greater than y, the slope becomes half. Basically, it's the x-intercept by the y-intercept. X-intercept, x coefficient by the y coefficient. That is the slope of the indifference curve. This is how the indifference curves will look. Now, what about the budget line? Budget line is 15 is equal to x plus 3y. So the slope of the budget line is 1 by 3. So if the slope of the budget line is 1 by 3, it's actually flatter than even the slope half. So it'll look like this, something like this. It's so flat that it's even flatter than half. So even flatter than half, I will consume at the x-intercept. Even flatter than half, I will consume at the x-intercept. See, it's like this. Let's go on the whiteboard. Let's draw a larger figure. I think that will be better. जल्दी से फिगर ड्रॉ करते हैं. Okay. I hope all of you are able to see it, right? ये हो गया. This is supposing my x is equal to y line. This is how the indifference curves will look. ठीक है. कुछ ऐसा दिखेगा indifference curves. Okay. Now, if the budget line is having even a flatter slope, budget line अगर ऐसा है, इतना ज़्यादा flat है, तो obviously for this kind of a budget line, this blue budget line, highest indifference curve achievable will obviously be this middle one. This middle one. This is my highest achievable indifference curve. ठीक है. All right. तो क्या आंसर है? Answer is the x-intercept. X-intercept is the answer here. तो 15 is equal to y is equal to 0, x is equal to 15. समझ में आया सबको? Isha, that depends on the question. You have to draw the graph and then see it. When you have L-shaped curves, ऐसा टाइप के इंडिफरेंस कर्व्स जब होते हैं परफेक्ट कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स में, देन यू यूजुअली इक्वेट, ओके, बट यहाँ पर तो यू हैव different kind of indifference curves. So it depends on the indifference curves how you're supposed to equate it. Isha, I hope that clears your question. यहाँ पर आंसर इज ए. So this is ISI 2022, question number 17. So consider an economy with two goods, X and Y. Let the utility function be U is equal to A root X into Y. Hold on. Now it would be smoother. So U is equal to, hold on. I hope all of you are able to see the screen now. U is equal to A root XY. Now px into x plus py into y less than equal to m. Px and py are both equal. So let px is equal to py is equal to p. Okay. So, okay, this is the utility function. This is the budget. So what are you supposed to do? What you will do is basically slope of indifference curve is equal to slope of budget line. Slope of the indifference curve is basically MUX by MUY. Slope of the budget line is basically PX by PY. This is what we'll get when we equate slope of the indifference curve and slope of the budget line. ठीक है? Here it must be always that x is equal to y. That's it.